Linus, Luke, and Dan, with Meta offering the option to reset your algorithm, should YouTube also follow suit? Maybe end the brain rot once for all?
I don't think that'll end the brain rot.
No, it won't end. The brain rot will happen again. I actually had a conversation with my son last night because he watches a little bit more YouTube than I'd probably prefer. He's at the age now where, we don't want to just because I could just lock how much he can watch it or whatever. But he's getting to the age now where these need
trying to get him to make decisions.
These need to be conversations. These need to be decisions that he makes. And it's like the analogy that Yvonne was drawing when we were discussing, just parenting strategies was it's like when my parents told me I couldn't date. The only difference was that they just didn't know.
Yeah.
Right. And so we have to accept that at a certain point, kids are going to not listen to everything you say, and you've got to arm them for that, right? And so one of the things that I was talking to him about, I pulled up my Google News feed, and I basically went, so here's the thing. It takes a ton of discipline, but you can actually tune these algorithms because a lot of the shorts that he's getting fed, it's shorts in particular that are kind of worrying because he's been watching more shorts. And a lot of them are pretty kind of educational and sciencey. So he's actually been doing a good job of what I asked him to do, which is, hey, if you're just watching,
cool.
brain rot on YouTube, that counts as screen time. You need to talk to us about it. But if you're watching educational content, I don't mind. You can do that whenever you want. So he's actually been doing a good job of tuning the algorithm a little bit.
There's so much really good educational content on YouTube too.
There really is.
Yeah.
But he's also clearly still getting fed brain rot garbage.
Right.
And so what I did was I pulled out my phone to use as an example to show him hey, look, if I'm looking at news if I click on something about the Royals or whatever, it's going to be full of just gossip bull spit for a long time. And if you are super, super disciplined, you can actually tune these algorithms to feed you really good content. And so I showed him, I was like, look, okay, we've got sort of politics, world events, tech, we've got all the things that I sort of generally follow, and without exception, there's actually no junk in my newsfeed anymore. But that takes a long time, and I know because I just had to retrain it because I switched from my work account to my
X.
Sorry?
Unless you're on X.
Oh, well, yeah, sure. I think that it would be very beneficial to be able to reset it, right? But to Luke's point, having gone through that process very recently of retraining mine, because I switched from my work account for my Google account, my main Google account on my phone, to my personal account. And the reason I did that was because there's certain functions that don't work in Google Assistant if you have a Google, what's it called? Google G Suite, if you have a G Suite account. And I just got tired of just stuff not working. And I was finally okay, fine, I'll just retrain this piece of garbage because my news feed sucks on my personal account and was real finely tuned on my work account. So it probably took me 3 or 4 months to get it to the point where I've retrained my brain to not see ads in the feed anymore because my work account didn't have any, and my personal one does. So I had to train my brain, and then also trained my feed to not give me garbage that I don't want to read. The other thing that typically ends up is science, especially astronomy science and material science. For some reason, I've clicked enough things about lithium batteries that it's oh, hey, there's a new graphene, whatever. And are you interested in this? So I end up with a lot of that stuff, and it takes a really long time. So I think it's a double-edged sword is the bottom line answer to this. I think it could be a really good thing if you feel like things have gotten a little bit out of control and you want to do a breather and reset. But I also think that you could be better off if you have the discipline retraining it yourself. So we kind of had a conversation with him about this is a feed that can be useful, but it actually takes so much more discipline when things are just kind of being served up in front of you compared to going out and seeking content the way that we used to. So I don't know how much of this is going to stick. I don't know how much of it's going to sink in, but trying to have these conversations.
It'll come and go a little bit too.
I've
talked about this on Wan's show before, but one of my favorite lines about this is life is constant PvP. And I think sometimes people get lulled into thinking that it's not, and that's actually dangerous. When you're randomly scrolling things, there's a war going on that you're not necessarily super aware of, and it's trying to learn about you, trying to learn about what's going to keep you scrolling, trying to learn about what's going to get you to buy something, trying to learn how to, all those different things. It's constantly analyzing. It's trying to tune for you. You need to be aware of that.
And I like to think that my kids, take me seriously as not just like some, okay boomer. Like part of the conversation too, it was actually a bit of a longer chat. And it was like, look, this is not fear mongering. I work in this world.
Yeah.
I live and breathe this world. I go to conferences in this world where I look at graphs about this world, about engagement, retention. That's all they care about. You are just a number. And I think that's something that people in general, never mind just kids, can't necessarily be expected to wrap their brain around.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
You are just a number to an organization like Google. You're for sale. You can be bought.
You're even just a number to a lot smaller organizations than Google.
That's fair to say.
Just because they're at the top of the mountain doesn't mean they're the only ones on the mountain. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Langley Man says, I'm not a number. No, we know you, Langley Man.
You're definitely a number to a lot of companies, though.
Yes.
Which is our point.
Kinap says, are we a number to you guys? I think you are. I don't think I recognize your username. But like Crystal, I know. It takes time to surface.
Yeah, the Full Pink Chat's a bit smaller of an audience. You can recognize some people, but it's never going to be everybody. You can't retain, like, I don't know, unless you have some crazy brain. You're not going to retain all these different names.
Now they're all asking me if there's numbers. How many are asking?
I mean,
get it? That's a number.
Are Floatplane users numbered? They're probably numbered.
They're probably numbered in the database.
There's customer IDs. Yeah. So nice. You're all a number.
Now they're all fighting over who could be number 69.
If I'm gonna be a number, I'm gonna be a cool number.